Hi, my name is Lyons. I'm at the Kingston Garage today to talk to you about regens. I'm going to explain what they are, how to know when your bus requires a stationary or parked regen, and how to perform a regen on each model of our bus. First, a little lesson on what a regen exactly is. So a diesel engine is always producing soot. It's a normal process of the engine. A cold engine produces a lot of soot, a warm engine not as much. All the soot gets collected in this device here, which is the DPF, the diesel particulate filter. Eventually, that soot gets to a level where it needs to be burned off. This is where the engine initiates a regen. Fuel is injected into the exhaust behind the turbo, which raises the exhaust temperature, burns off the soot into DPF, and turns it into ash. Eventually, the ash builds up as well, and we need to service or replace the filter. But for your purposes, know that during a regen, which normally occurs without you even knowing it, soot is being burned off of the exhaust. That's what's happening. Occasionally, your bus may encounter a problem, or maybe driving conditions are not ideal. Maybe you're in a lot of stop-and-go traffic, and you'll need to initiate a parked regen on your own. Conditions aren't right for it to do it automatically. In that case, you need to find a safe spot in order to do the regen, and know that it takes 45 minutes to an hour to complete. If it's interrupted at any time, know that you need to start all over from the beginning. So if you release the parking brake during it, try to move the bus, the regen will abort, and you'll have to start over from the beginning. Next, we're going to show you a screen on the different alert levels of when a regen is required, and I'm going to explain that. So level 1, that symbol will become solid on the dash, and that symbol that you see on this sheet is standard for all vehicles since 2008. No matter what bus you're on, whether you're on a truck with a DPF, it's all standard. When the light is on solid, it's indicating that a regen, a parked or a stationary regen, is needed. At this point, it's not urgent, but you should begin thinking about where you're going to stop and do this regen. I can't tell you if you will make it to your next stop. It depends on the road conditions. It depends on any number of things. So there is no time limit between when the light comes on solid and when you absolutely need to do a regen. So just know that when it comes on solid, you need to start thinking about it. Where are you going to do it? I always ask, would you rather do it on the side of the thruway or in a McDonald's parking lot where you can rest and relax and your passengers can get something to eat? I'd rather do it in the parking lot. So when you see the light come on solid, start thinking about that. If you've ignored it, at level 2, it becomes blinking. All right, this is much more urgent. This is when you need to really get off the road, find a place to do it, because it's only going to get worse from here. As you can see on level 3, the light continues flashing, and you'll get a check engine light. At this point, you may also know an engine derate. And by that, I mean a loss of power. Okay, not as much power going up hills, not as much speed on takeoff. A 5 mile an hour derate is something different. That's an SCR thing, which I can get to in another video. The DPF derate is an engine power derate, so you'll notice sluggishness. And at level 4, if you continue to ignore these warnings, the engine is eventually going to shut down. And wherever you are is where you are, and that's where you're going to be doing your regen. So that's why I always tell people when they see it come on solid, that warning light, that's when you need to start thinking about where you're going to do your regen. Don't ignore it. So let's say you're operating a bus and that light has come on. You need to initiate a parked or stationary regen. You found a safe space and you're ready to start it. I'm going to show you how to perform a parked regen on each model of bus in our fleet. I'm going to start with the Prevos, 2010 and newer, and I'm going to show you a video from Prevo, from their YouTube channel, explaining how to do it. When you're watching the video, please pay special attention to the disclaimers and the rules outlined in the video, as those rules apply to any regen done on any vehicle.
How to do a parked regeneration for vehicle equipped with US 10 engines and newer. Disclaimer: the coach will not allow parked regeneration to be performed with an active engine or emissions fault code. Before going through the procedure, here are the golden rules before performing a parked regeneration. Never do a regeneration inside a building. Never do a parked regeneration under or close to a tree. Never do a parked regeneration under or close to any structure or building. Park in an open area, like a parking lot. Now that the vehicle is well positioned, let's go through the step-by-step instructions to perform the regeneration.
For the first step, we will start by turning the HVAC off by pressing the on-off button.
We stop the HVAC to reduce the load on the engine during the regeneration.
We will then turn the fast idle off. For the next step, we're going to go under the DID using the two buttons located on the left side of the steering wheel. We're first going to press escape. Then we're going to scroll down to the after treatment menu. I'm going to press enter. And I'm going to press on request Parked Regen in order to start the process. In case you get a message for Parked Regen condition not met, you will press escape and go to the ATS status menu and we'll press enter. At this point, we're going to look for any item that may have a check next to it. Scroll down to the second page where I see neutral with a check next to it, meaning the transmission is not in neutral. And I'm going to press on request Parked Regen in order to start the process. Once the Parked Regen is requested, the RPM will start to raise. The Parked Regen may take 30 to 45 minutes depending on the condition of the after-treatment system. Once the Parked Regen cycle is finished, the RPM will drop back down to 600 RPM and the Regen request light will turn off. The vehicle is now ready to go back on the road.
Okay, so the video you just watched outlined how to perform a parked or stationary regen on any of the 2010 or newer Prevos. That's any of the Prevos with the orange dashboard. Our three newest H models have a slightly different dash cluster layout, slightly different process, but it's all the same thing. For more info on that, please refer to my previous video I did on our new H models. Next, I'm going to show you how to perform a regen on a 2008 or 2009 Prevo, as it doesn't have the same dash setup. Okay, so we're on a 2009 Prevo H right now that needs a regen. I've parked in a safe spot, my engine is running, my fast idle is off. To initiate the regen, release the parking brake, reapply it, put the transmission in drive, back into neutral, and then locate this blue switch on the dash. If we were in a situation where this bus actually needed a regen, it would be flashing. We're going to hold up on the switch for at least 5 to 10 seconds, and you might see that it'll flash amber at me, indicating that it's accepted the regen. Right there. And you can hear that the RPMs are revving up, and it's initiated the stationary regen. Again, this takes 45 minutes to an hour. Let it do its thing, don't interrupt it, and it'll, once it's done, RPMs will ramp back down. Alright, now we're in a 2019 Van Hool, and I'm going to show you how to do a regen on these. Again, we're parked in a safe spot, I got the engine running and the fast idle off. All the Van Hools are going to be similar in how you initiate a regen. The difference is going to be the switches in the back, which you'll see. So to start the regen, have your foot on the service brake. Release the parking brake, wait for the icon on the dash to go out, reapply it, put the transmission in drive, back in neutral. And now I'm going to get out and go to the back of the bus. All right, so after completing the process in the driver's seat, you have 30 seconds to get to the back of the bus, open the engine door, and press this button. Again, hold it for 5 to 10 seconds. And release it. If this bus was actually in need of a regen, you would hear the RPMs rise, wait the 45 minutes to an hour, and then they would ramp down and you're complete. Okay, so now I'm on a 2011 Van Hool. In our fleet, that's going to be 72, 113, and 114. The process from the driver's seat to initiate the regen is the exact same as what I just showed you in the other Van Hool. The only difference is when you come back here, the button's just going to look a little different. You still have to open the engine door, and it's going to be this button right here that says Force Regeneration. Again, after initiating that process, hold this button for 5 to 10 seconds. The RPMs will take off, and the regen will start. Okay, finally we're on a 2013 Van Hool. So all of our 12s, 13s, and 14s are going to be like this one. Again, the process is exactly the same from the driver's seat, the park and brake, shifting into neutral, into drive and then neutral, and then having 30 seconds to come back here and press the button. On these buses, here is our Force Regen button right here. So again, hold that 5 to 10 seconds, RPMs will take off, and the regen will initiate. Alright, so I hope this video has been helpful in teaching you when your bus requires a regen and how to perform one on each model of bus in our fleet. A couple things to remember. When you have a regen alert, make sure you're communicating with dispatch. And also remember that when you have an alert, you're never able to tell how much time you've had between your initial alert and an engine derate. So please, when that first alert comes active and the light comes on solid, that's when you need to start thinking about where you're going to do a regen. Remember, you'd rather be doing it safe in a parking lot than on the side of the road.